Look, I'm not trying to just sit here and be an anti-Google channel. I don't hate Google. I'm a huge proponent and defender of Chrome. I can genuinely defend a lot of the things they do. But recently, it's getting hard. And the one thing I can't ever defend, like I just am not capable of doing it, no part of me even allows me to try and steelman it, is Reddit. I hate Reddit. Not the people who use Reddit. There's so much good commentary and conversation that can happen there. But the way Reddit's been run has historically been more a tragedy than it is an actual successful and meaningful way to operate a platform. Reddit's a disaster. And that's why I'm not at all surprised to share with y'all that the two most evil companies in my life have decided to collude. Yes, Reddit is now blocking all search engines that aren't Google from having any access to their data, doing things like indexing posts and making it so that you can find the Reddit post you're looking for when you search on a given search engine. I don't know about you guys, but the way I primarily use Reddit is when I'm searching for something and I don't like the results, I add a Reddit to the end to see if I can find a comment from a human that is slightly better. And when I do that with my search engine of choice, DuckDuckGo. Rip on me all you want, it's just the search engine I've used. I like it. It's fine. But the fact that I have to use Google now to do that is actually absurd. And the reasons why get even more absurd. So let's read through this one. Also, their justification for this is misuse. Sure, Reddit. If you guys don't remember, Reddit imploded last year because they were making changes to the API because they felt like the API was too generous. You know, letting people build free software to make your platform better is Reddit being too generous. And that's why they decided to start charging ungodly amounts of money to anybody who dares to build a better way to use Reddit. The reason they did that kind of makes sense is that they didn't want AI companies to use the API to just infinitely scrape data from Reddit to train their AI stuff. And also, they had an IPO coming up and they wanted to be worth a lot of money in the stock market. So they were desperately looking for ways to make their brand and their company worth more money. And if the best way to use Reddit isn't the Reddit app, it's an app like Apollo or Narwhal, that looks bad. So they boxed them out and blamed AI for it. And it has been a nightmare since. Reddit has tanked all of its sentiment across all of the developers that made it a usable platform in one swift movement. Actual absurdity. And now they're hurting the one other thing they had, which is the search as a method to get to Reddit. So all of the things I liked about Reddit, those being the good third-party apps and the ability to find a human's response to something via search, all of this has been destroyed with the magical justification of AI, not the actual reason, just what they say so they can pretend they're being good guys. And now this wonderful collusion. Reddit can be a valuable source for information from real people. Reddit could be. I would argue it barely is anymore, but that's an aside. But that's why Google is spending millions on a deal with the platform. But now, Reddit has started to block many of its results from showing in other search engines properly. This should be illegal, but we'll get there as we get there. In February this year, Google announced a new deal with Reddit, which would see Reddit data used for training Google's AI models, as well as more prominently showing Reddit results within Google search. See this? Again, they're using the AI thing. They're claiming that Google paid to use Reddit's data for AI training. And I'm sure Google did that, and I'm sure they're using that data to do some training, but it seems like the companies that didn't pay for it, like DuckDuckGo, like Yahoo, like Microsoft, like all of these other businesses that have search engines that aren't training AI on the stuff that Reddit is doing, it seems like they want to bill them for that, so they're doing this crazy shit. Bloomberg reported that the deal was for around $60 million. That is actually a hilariously small number, all things considered. Google pays Mozilla between $400 and $450 million per year to be the default search engine in the Firefox homepage. So a bit over a tenth of what Google pays Mozilla, Google is paying Reddit. This one's fun because a lot of why this exists, a lot of why Google pays Mozilla, is there needs to be competition for Chrome or they'll lose a huge monopoly lawsuit. If Chrome was actually the only viable browser, they'd be screwed. So a lot of the goal here isn't just make sure Mozilla users use Google. It's not just trying to make sure Firefox has the default search engine that benefits Google the most. It's very specifically to make sure Mozilla doesn't go out of fucking business. Somebody already brought up in chat what I was about to bring up, which is this is very similar to when Microsoft funded Apple and put offices around Apple and also made Internet Explorer the browser on Mac. The goal there wasn't to take over the Mac ecosystem. It was to lower the likelihood that they would get fucked in an antitrust case because there's no alternative to Windows. So Google's willing to drop huge amounts of money like this in order to make sure competition exists so they don't get screwed. But there's also another thing they pay a lot. Google paid Apple $20 billion to be the default search engine on Safari, specifically for iPhones. This one they're just doing for the market share. This isn't keeping a competitor in business. This one has the specific goal of making sure the most valuable customers that can be served the most profitable ads, which are us rich asshole expensive iPhone users. Google wants to make sure that they still get our money and that they can still charge for the ads that we see. Google makes significantly more money off of the average iPhone user than off of the average Android user, simply because the average Android user is more likely to have a cheap phone and have a lower spend target than the average iPhone user. Because of that, Google pays insane amounts of money to be the default search engine on Safari, over 40 times what they're paying to be the default search engine in Firefox. Both of these numbers are massive and are really funny relative to the 60 million number that we saw here. Also, this is the original source on that number from Reuters back in February. The contract with Alphabet-owned Google is worth about $60 million per year, according to the sources, seeking to generate new revenue amid fierce competition for advertising dollars from the likes of TikTok and Meta's platforms. Yeah, it seems like Reddit's getting screwed because they don't have a real advertising platform at all, and it's so much harder for them to make money on their users, especially because the average Reddit user is deep in ad blocking platforms. Like, they just don't see ads. So hopefully this has established the chaos that is Google's weird deals to keep things afloat, and also how not big this number is, and also, with that, how absurdly desperate Reddit is to make any money at all. Yeah, this is insanity. In the time since, Reddit has also been showing in Google searches drastically more, often outranking the websites that the Reddit posts are linking to. Ooh, this is funny. Reddit outranks the This House Fresh article for how Google's killing independent sites like ours is probably the most so sad it's funny example of how bad they are that I've seen yet. That's pretty hilarious. You search for how Google's killing independent sites like ours, Reddit gets the first result, and then the blog that it's posted on is second. Reality is a sitcom. That's so painful. That's so painful. Yeah, this is just like, are you kidding, meme tier. Like, absolutely feeling a deep pain seeing that. We've had our own search engine woes. I'll reveal these. Why not? If you search upload thing on Bing or DuckDuckGo, for a while, what was coming up was our preview builds for our docs. So whenever a new docs build came out, it would have a custom preview URL because Vercel was auto creating those for us. And despite having all the headers set properly so it wouldn't be indexed, Bing just ignored that and decided to index it still. And since one of the sources that DuckDuckGo uses is Bing, it destroyed our SEO. So now when you search for upload thing on Bing or DuckDuckGo, our actual site doesn't come up. And it took us a lot of work to even do that because before it was linking the wrong URLs. No matter what we do, we can't get Bing and DuckDuckGo to stop indexing random preview builds and actually link to our proper docs. I'll pay $1,000 to whoever replies with a fix that actually makes this stop forever. No one actually fixed this, by the way. Now we just lost our indexing entirely. But see these awful URLs, docs, upload thing, jm7-pinglabs.vercel.app. This is what came up when you search for upload thing docs. What the fuck? And the same deal on Bing. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Bing and their searching and that their ability to index things is good. It's not. But at the very least, it was a little closer to realistic. And yeah, I've had my pain with that, but that doesn't mean I think that Google should be the exclusive rights holder to making upload things searchable. In fact, if I could make it easier for Bing and DuckDuckGo to index our sites properly, I would instantaneously do it. But they are not. They have made it very hard to do such. Anyways, now Reddit results and other search engines are effectively being blocked. Obnoxious. And oh God, this quote. Welcome to Reddit's robots.txt. Reddit believes in an open internet, but not the misuse of public content. See our help stuff. User agent star disallow. They are not allowing people to scrape Reddit anymore. Reddit is not a source of public content. They are trying to redefine what public content means. That is, fuck you, Reddit. Imagine being a place for people to share an infinite amount of free things out of their own goodwill and desire to have a place for it. None of the Reddit users consented to this. They might have had a thing in the terms of service that said, legally speaking, Reddit can change the way this data is accessed at any point, and that you're giving them the copyright whenever you make a comment or a post. But it's fucking bullshit. Imagine donating a bunch of books to a library, signing some form that says you're not going to assume or whatever when you do it, and then out of nowhere, the library starts charging for access to the books you gave them. It makes it so people in your hometown can't get them for free anymore. I gave you the books for a fucking reason, so you could give them out for free. And now you're just not doing that because you want to make a bunch of money. If my local library was to go to the public stock market after I gave them a bunch of books, that would be awful. That'd be terrible. And Reddit just got away with it. The most scummy thing, and I covered this in my Reddit's imploding video way back when, is that Reddit's users massively protested when this happened. They took down a bunch of huge subreddits because of this. They locked them. They blacked out the Reddits, waiting for Reddit to respond. Reddit's response was to remove the moderators who did that and put in their own. They actually hit up the mod team saying, hey, if you don't make this subreddit public and postable again, we're going to remove all of you and take over it ourselves. They have aggressively taken over the community side, and now they're being evil to the other side too. Reddit is the middleman between the sources of information like search engines and the individuals who created the content in the first place. They're fucking over both sides to maximize their profit. They're charging the indexers and they're restricting the content that we gave them for free. No poster on Reddit is making actual money doing that, but Reddit's found a way to take their content that they gave out for free, that they don't even believe was doing this, that they did not consent to this use for, and now they're charging companies and making the content less useful, more restricted, and whatnot, because they want to make more money. This is as evil as it gets, and it sucks that it's like this, but it is, and here we are. And it's so they can justify spending the money rewriting their website for the 15th fucking time. It's insane. I still use old Reddit. The rare times I have to go to Reddit, I'll just quickly change the URL to be old.reddit.com because rewrite number 15 is no better than rewrite number 4 was. In June, just prior to when the file was first updated, Reddit explained that the change was being made following an uptick of obviously commercial entities who scrape Reddit and use Reddit content for any use case they want. Like making it searchable? Huh? Remember all those people who said that we shouldn't be using Discord for our communities and we should be using Reddit so that we could still search and have access to those things? Fuck all of you. You're part of the problem now. While it's not said explicitly, it's also pretty clear that AI training is a clear focus for this change in policy. But as a result, search engines other than Google are now not able to show proper results from Reddit as they previously did. 404 notes that Bing, DuckDuckGo, Mojeek, and Quant are all affected, with results either not showing anything recent or not showing the full site result. Kagi, which is a paid search engine, is apparently still showing data, but only because it buys some of its search index from Google, which continues to have access to Reddit data through the aforementioned deal. This is actual fucking absurdity. Bing, when you search site Reddit, there are no results for site Reddit. What? Also a fun thing Reddit did, because again, a lot of users did not consent to Reddit selling their data for training and whatnot. A lot of users had a bot that would go delete all their comments because they were so frustrated that Reddit was selling these things that they put on Reddit for free. And Reddit then decided that they would start restoring those edited and deleted comments because they knew that this was going to hurt the value of the data. And Reddit will gladly fuck over their most dedicated users and developers from the community if it means that they might be worth 0.001% more on the stock market. The fact that they are so willing to do this type of shit and just don't care at all about their user base or the developers that made their user base use the product just says so much. Like all Reddit is now is a dump of old data from the last decade or so, what little they were able to restore when people started deleting it. And they're trying to sell it for money. And Google's the only company willing to pay, but also is lowballing the shit out of them because they're trying to emphasize to Reddit and to everyone else just how little value there is here. And it seems like all of this is Reddit throwing a hissy fit. They could only get 60 million out of Google. So rather than try to make the data valuable enough that Google pays more, they are doing everything they can to lock everyone else out to try and get more of those $60 million piles of money. This is actually insane. People are making a good point in chat, which is that the EU could sue them for restoring deleted content. Almost certainly. I hope this is the end. I do genuinely hope this is where we're going to start seeing Reddit fall apart. I hate this. I really do. And I wish I could give Google more shit, but a fee this small is just them doing their best to like be a good faith player. And I guarantee Google did not think when they paid this money that the result would be Reddit blocking every other search engine. Because just the possibility of Google having to fight an antitrust lawsuit now because Reddit charged them money for something else and now they're restricting access to others. This hurts Google's position in the court more than the $60 million they paid and the value they can get out of it. I am near certain, just from my understanding of the courts, that Google would not have agreed to this if this included the restriction of Reddit as a source on other search engines. They know better than that. Google would not have done this. This is Reddit fucking everybody, be it Google, be it the other search engines, be it the users, be it the devs that made Reddit usable. Everyone is fucked in order for Reddit to make a little more money on the stock market. So, yeah. As per always, fuck Reddit. Until next time, peace, nerds.